Namaste. I hope you're doing well and you are welcome once again to Physicsify where we are talking about vectors. This happens to be part 10 in which we are talking about the commutative law as well as the associative law of vectors. Two important laws coming for you. I hope you love it. Let's start this off and we have the commutative law coming in. What do you mean by this? You just want to say that vectors can be added irrespective of which is first and which is second and the result remains the same. So we say that vector addition actually follows this commutative law which says a plus b vector equals b plus a vector. All you said is that both these things are same. Let's try to prove it. Let us say I was given these two vectors a and b. I've just joined them with respect to tail. It could be anywhere, but let's say these are the two vectors. How can you prove it? You can try to take this thing that is on the left and then you can try to take this thing that is on the right. And if both of them come out to be same, you can say that commutative law holds true for vector addition. Now let me try to do this one by one. So I've taken a big bracket because I want to do one on the top, one on the bottom. Let's say I'm trying to do a plus b. I draw a vector a. I hope you remember the triangle law of addition. The next vector b, b's tail with a's head combined, it would be something like this. And now the common head and the common tail will give you the resultant r, that is a plus b. This is something that we have taken from the left hand side, right? This is our LHS. How about I take the RHS? I have to take vector B first now. So I'm going to take vector B first now. No problems with me. And then I take vector A. Again, I add vector B's head, vector A's tail. Again, I have this as the common tail, this as the common head. And if I get the resultant this time around, this is B plus A. Guess what? If you see, this vector and this vector are the same things because we remember vectors are free vectors, and if you just slide it over here, I think you'll find it to be the same. So RHS and LHS are same. This means commutative law holds for vector addition, right? This was an easy one. Associative law is something that is a little difficult to do, so let's try to do this as well. What does this say? This says that now instead of two vectors, if I take three vectors, how can they be added differently? So first of all, I'll just say that vector addition follows associative law because that is something that holds true. But how can you prove it? Let's try to prove it. First, let's write this down, that what does this mean? If somebody says vector addition follows associative law, what do you mean by associative law? What will you write down? You will write down a plus b plus c equal a plus b plus c. You will say, sir, it's the same thing. No, it's not the same thing. If you see, in the first case, I have taken b plus c first and then added it with vector a, while in the second case, I have taken a and b first and then added to a vector c. So again, I have a sort of LHS, I have a sort of RHS. I want to prove it right. Let's try to do this. First thing, I take all the vectors, vector a, vector b and vector c. Thank you, vectors. You are present on the screen now. Let's try to add it. If I want to take it through this left hand side, I have to do b plus c first and then add it with a. So I will say let's draw b and c. B and C are drawn in such a way so that we can add that easily through a triangle of addition, and I think this is what you'll get as b plus c. Now you have to add a plus this red vector that you have got, b plus c. So where is the a vector? A vector is here. Now I can add this a vector and b plus c. Now I will just see this vector and this vector. Why these two? Because these two are to be added. This is the first vector. This whole is the second vector. I hope you remember the two vectors to be added. First vector as it is. On the first vector's head, there is the tail of this b plus c. And now I think it's very easy to write down the resultant. And this resultant is a plus in brackets b plus c. This is what I get from LHS. What about the RHS? Right? Let's try to see this. Now we have to do a plus b first and then add it to a c vector. So if you want to do a plus b, you draw a and b. Again, using triangle law, I think everybody can say that this vector turns out to be a plus b, and if you want to add a c over here, you will just draw a c something like this, right? Something like this. We have just taken this c, put it here, and now we have the two vectors. One is this vector, this one whole, and the other is this one that is here. So now the resultant, I think, is pretty simple. You can tell the resultant turns out to be bracket of a plus b plus c vector. And if you see a little more clearly, these are again free vectors, these are again the same vectors. So I hope both these laws were clear to you. We'll come back in the next session, try to do a little more quizzes, try to learn a little more theory. But this is bye-bye for now. Before going that, once again, I'd like to remind you, if you loved it, do share it with your friends. And if you don't want to miss anything from me, do not forget to click on the subscribe now button. Adios.